Hello there, Pisces. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly in-depth tarot forecast. This forecast is for the month of October. We are going to look at, for our first time section here, we're going to look at October 1st through the 10th, and then after that, each week in October. I just think it's better to actually see the energies sort of flow through than it is to just do one spread for the whole month. So this is a little bit longer. It is more in depth, but for right now, what we're looking at is just October the 1st through the 10th. The first thing that I am looking at, it tells me about your environment during this time frame. It looks like there's something going on where you're not feeling very happy, very satisfied, very fulfilled in your environment right now. You may be recovering from something that I kind of get the sense that there is a little bit of recovery of something that may have had a lot to do with water. So for some of you Pisces, there may be some kind of flood damage, hurricane damage, maybe water damage if you were in a place where you were dealing with fires. Maybe you're somebody that, you weren't in any of those dramatic locations, but to me, this looks like there's some kind of water damage. Every single card that I have here has cups that are turned over. So I think that there's some non-satisfaction with your environment right now. There is some stuff that needs to be taken care of before you start feeling like this is a happy place to be right now. And I do think that as you go through the 1st to the 10th, you are already recovering from that and improving that situation. So I don't think that it's staying this way the whole time frame. I do see you making some improvements before you get to the end of the 10th. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about your subconscious leanings during this time frame, Pisces. What do we have here? What do we have here? You have a choice to make. Oh, geez. Pisces, I think you guys have a choice to make about going along with the ideas or the opinions of a female person who can't be quite bossy and domineering, who is also depressed at the moment. Or your other option is to fight with this person. It doesn't seem like there's any in between here. As I'm looking at this decision, like either decision, you can keep the peace and go along with what this person says, but just looking at this person's headspace tells me that what you're going along with may not be necessarily the best thing to go along with for you right now. But if you fight it, then you're definitely busting up the peace. I mean, it's going to be a pretty big deal. And I think your subconscious is really working on, okay, what is the least of the two evils here, and trying to get that sorted out for you as you go through this time frame. La, da, da. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about learning style and also communication style. So when I'm looking at learning style during this time frame, I do think there's something that you're learning that is causing a lot of emotions. And I feel like actually you're doing some self-work, you're reflecting, and you're doing a lot of cleansing. So as you're reflecting, as you're looking at this may bring up some tears as you're doing that during this time frame. I do feel like you're getting a lot of truth right now, and a lot of that truth may come from reflecting and looking at yourself. It may be bringing in some real aha, epiphany type moments. The other thing that we have that you're learning here is how to become more well-grounded for yourself, so that you don't have your emotions leading you, but instead you are leading your emotions. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about communication style for you during this time frame. I do think that you have a lot of people around you who are very supportive and encouraging, and I see communication going on with them, although I feel like it's kind of short communication for most of them. As far as other communication, I feel like there is this You guys may be making some kind of music or listening to some kind of music and finding some healing in either sharing that music or hearing that music. Either way. Either way. And it looks to me like you may be taking some time away with somebody else to communicate with them during this time frame as well. I do also have some time here that you're spending just by yourself, some time alone, not really communicating with anybody, just sort of doing your own self-care, basically, is what I have showing up here. Okay. Now, next thing we're going to look at has to do with work for you Pisces during this time frame. Looks to me like you're really focused on business, taking care of business. It looks to me like you've got a situation where you are trying to turn around finances that haven't been going in the direction that you want them to be going. And I think that you have actually taken some time to sort of get off by yourself. Of course, we sort of saw that in your communication, but you've taken some time to get off by yourself and really figure out what are your priorities, what do you want to accomplish, what do you actually want to do, and as you are coming back out into the world, you're coming back out looking at this from a much more logical standpoint than what you normally would. Very logical, very well grounded, just looking at, okay, this is my mission, this is what I'm focused on right now, and what are the steps I need to take to get this accomplished. Okay, so that's work. As far as inner work, what do we have going on here? It feels to me like you may be feeling like your balance has been thrown off by some type of emotional situation that sort of came up suddenly. Maybe not sort of, but came up suddenly, and it's sort of thrown your balance off. And so I think a lot of your inner work has to do with this idea of finding your balance again. As water signs, we're pretty sensitive to things like that throwing us off our balance. We have to be really diligent to keep our stuff together, All right, let's look next at that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. I do see that you're doing some type of healing. I'm going to say for some of you, this healing isn't necessarily physical, although for a lot of you it may be some type of physical healing. But I'm really getting the impression that you're doing something about bringing two people together to heal a relationship. Whether these are two family members in your family, or whether these are, a couple where you care for both of these people and they're having a hard time, whatever it is, I feel like, you're taking one of the things that I learned when I was studying Reiki about healing is that really what you're doing is you're taking all the parts and components and getting them to harmonize and work as one. So when I see a healing card, and to get this impression of, people, this is about getting people to work together as one, to get people into harmony. That's what it feels like for you Pisces. Much more strongly than medical healing, although I won't take that off the table. But I think this is about healing the relationships of somebody around you. I don't even feel like this is necessarily like your marriage or your relationship with a sibling or a parent, but I feel like this is you facilitating healing for two other people in your sphere of influence right now. Improve your life by these two people being more harmonious, but it also improved other people's lives as well. Of course, these other two people, or more, however many of these were that you were unifying, and probably also their families. So you're hearing, you're getting appreciation for this that you have done. And then the other thing that we have coming up here, I feel like there's something going on where there's something that you want to manifest, and I think you're sort of putting that manifestation on hold. It feels to me like you're setting a priority to do something else instead of what was originally your target or your goal during this particular time frame. Okay? Now, next thing that we're looking at, I'm going to have to get a drink in a second for my throat, but next thing that we're looking at has to do with that thing that you stand for during this time frame. Talk to me about the players in this little scene. Excuse me, I just want to make sure that I'm getting this picked up in a way that is right and is beneficial. It's not, if it's not right, it's not beneficial for you, is it? So give me a second while I feel around in this and see who's playing what part in this little scenario. Okay, so you're standing up for a situation, Pisces, where there's been something that you've been putting up with for a really long time and just dealing with and just pretending like everything's okay and really not letting people around you know that it's been bothering you, or at least not the people that could do anything about it. And I think you've hit your breaking point in the recent past, and maybe even during this time frame, but could also be even before this. But I think you've hit your breaking point, and when you did, I think that the emotion that came out of you just kind of came out of you like a volcanic explosion. Because whoever put that last straw on your back didn't realize that there was already like 15 bales of straw already on your back before that. And so you're not only reacting to that last straw, you're reacting to the 15 other bales before that last straw got put on your back. And so I think that really took them, that was shocking to them and overwhelming to them, and I don't think they knew what to do with that. So basically you just had enough, and you had an emotional explosion here. And I think what you're defending is the idea that when you had this emotional explosion, you were really disappointed by the reaction of the other person, because the other person didn't take it seriously. The other person maybe even left the house or left the room. You know, this other person just put up boundaries between you and them, and they said, you know, you're so emotional, and they kind of discounted what you were upset about. And so I think that, you know, you've been holding this back so long that when it finally came out, it came out in a big way, and now you're disappointed because the other person really couldn't see what the big deal was, and they think you're being over dramatic and over emotional because they're not understanding that you're reacting to something that's been building for a while. Okay, and I think you're standing up for this. Somebody's saying something to you about, well, you're so dramatic or you're so emotional, but you're saying, you know, well, I've been putting up with 15 years of blah, blah, blah. I couldn't take it anymore. Sue me. I think that's what you're saying. Maybe not those exact words, but you get the gist. Now, how the other person sees you after you have this conversation, they definitely see you as somebody who is not very happy with the situation. They see you as somebody who's done a lot of research on the situation as well. And they see you as somebody who is very loving. I think what the impression that I'm getting here is that this other person sees you as somebody who really loves whoever this person was that you blew up at, but you're just not happy with them. And the more information you find out, the more you're not happy with them. That's how they're perceiving you right now. Okay. La da da da. Next thing we're looking at, Pisces, is going to be your flex point during this time frame. So this is going to talk about where things start to go a little bit of a different direction for you during this time from the 1st to the 10th. Okay? So, flex point, my dears. What do we have? It looks like you are taking some time to stop and do some type of healing work on yourself, whether this is emotional healing, physical healing. I'm not really sure, just in this one card doesn't exactly say that. And this is a general reading, so I'm not going to get super specific in any part of this for anybody, because then if I get super specific, then that's great. That fits for a few people, but it doesn't fit for everybody. So I want this to be a general reading where this is going to fit most of the people most of the time. For specifics, you always want to get a private reading. And of course, you guys know, website right there. You can find out how to do that. I would say just call me or text me and we can get something taken care of for you. Contact number is on the website. But doing some type of healing. And I think that as you're doing whatever healing this is, I think there's somebody who is in your sphere of influence who is sort of sabotaging the healing process. This is somebody who this has to be, well, it doesn't have to be. This is somebody who benefits from the fact that you're not totally and completely healed. They can get away with more things if you're not. Okay? And so I think they're actually sabotaging the healing process. Just little things, not in huge ways, but just little things. But I do think it's intentional that they're sabotaging your healing process, and they're making this healing process take longer than it needs to take because they benefit from you being unwell. Now, for an example of how somebody might benefit from someone being unwell, let's say that you can't clean your house for yourself or mow your lawn for yourself, something like that. There's something around the house you can't do for yourself. Well, maybe you're paying this other person to do those things for you since you can't do them for yourself. And so maybe they are appreciating the idea that they have more money in their wallet right now, and they know that if you get better soon, then they're no longer going to be paid to do the things you can't do anymore. So it's in their best interest to kind of keep you not so well, but well enough to pay them, type of thing. Okay? The other example that's coming to me would be like sometimes, and I hate to even say this, it's like a detestable thought even, but sometimes we have, doctors are human too, and sometimes doctors get kickbacks on the medicines that they give us from the pharmaceutical companies. And for some doctors, that's a significant part of their income. And it may be that you have somebody who is being deceptive with you about what medicines you actually need, and this is slowing down your healing. I don't feel like it's stopping your healing. Whatever this is that's going on, that's below the board, I don't feel like it's stopping your healing, but I do believe that it's slowing it down significantly. If this was happening to me, I can tell you that I would be outraged. Like I'm not far from outraged just looking at these cards for you, Pisces. All right. Let's move on. Let's move on. What else is going on during this time frame, Pisces? So Pisces, you had some kind of strategy or some kind of plan, and it looks like there's somebody who's coming into your sphere of influence that you are strongly attracted to, that you really enjoy their company, you like to spend time with them. And it looks to me like whatever strategy or plan you made, now you're being completely distracted from that. Okay? Because you're more focused on this person. All right? It could be a grandbaby, that you just want to pay all your attention to the grandbaby, so your plan's out the window. You know, but there's some person that's in here as a distraction. La da da da. What else is going on at the same time? I do feel like you're feeling definitely like you're independent, like you're self-sufficient. you're taking good care of yourself, and you're even putting finances or putting resources back, like you're stashing back some kind of finances or material goods, stashing them back for some case that you might need them in the future. And I think that you're a little bit stressed out. It comes up here that you're stressed out about the idea that at some point in the future you may need these resources. And so it almost feels to me like you're feeling as if you can't stash back resources fast enough to make yourself feel secure right now. And especially because it feels to me like this responsibility is falling completely on you. You're the self-sufficient one. So even if you're with somebody, they may not be in a position to stash back things where you are, or if you're by yourself, you're just really feeling the pressure of, the whole stability falls all on you. If you're by yourself, if you're on your own is a better way to say that. All right, Pisces, let's look and see where you are at the end of this particular time frame. It looks to me like you're giving somebody here a second chance, and this is somebody who is a very logical type person. Everything has to make sense to them before they can move forward with it. This could be somebody who's more scientifically minded than esoterically minded. They definitely think with their head and not their heart, so they're, this would be somebody who would have strong air in their chart, whether that's as their sun sign or their rising sign generally for me. And not everybody knows the rising signs, so I try to stay away from that. But, this is someone who is definitely very logic-oriented that you're giving a second chance to. And this is somebody who did some kind of rash decision or rash behavior in the past. But you're giving them a second chance whenever we come to the end of this particular time frame. Now, this could be in the area of romantic life, but it doesn't have to be. This could also be a friendship. This could be a business partnership. This could be a lot of different things, but just somebody that you're giving a second chance, somebody that did something rash and irresponsible before. And the fact that you're giving them a second chance, I kind of feel like you're not going to them and saying, you know what, if you do such and such and this and that and the other, then maybe we can start talking again or whatever. I feel like they have come to you at this point and they've communicated with you and said, you know what, I would like to have a second chance. I feel like they've more or less made their case, and so you've agreed to it. Okay? Pisces, you guys don't like confrontation anyway. And that may be why you've agreed to it, just rather than having a confrontation. I don't know. We'll probably see more about that as we go on in time. But for right now, that's where I'm leaving you. That's the last place we see you during October 1st. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this little section up, and I'll be back in a minute or two after I take a little break. And we will look at the second full week in October. See you soon. Hello there, Pisces. We are back again. And this time what we're looking at is the time frame of October 11th through the 17th. So that is going to be, what are we looking at here, a Sunday through a Saturday. And so we're going to start with environment. Now, once again, environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. So usually home, but not always. It looks like there's a lot of confusion coming up about your environment, and there's a lot of activity, a lot of things happening. Yeah, and I think you guys have some decisions to make about the environment, Pisces. For some of you, I feel like there's just contractors in the house and there's just lots of activity everywhere, and energy is flying all over the place is what it looks like. For others of you, this could just be that there's a lot of people, maybe more people than usual. Maybe you're having company over, or I don't know. If this is company, I think possibly they aren't even invited. They've just kind of decided to show up, because I don't see you like graciously hosting this, which is what I would normally expect from a Pisces to see in their environment. So there's lots of energy in your house. I think there may be lots of people. There's lots of things getting done. And I think there's a lot of confusion going on as far as all of this activity too. So there may be kind of scheduling issues or scheduling glitches, things like that are happening. Yeah, and there's this confusion applies to the decisions that you need to make too. Because of all the confusion, it's making it really hard for you to make some decisions around your environment. Okay, and like I said, this doesn't have to be home. This is any place where you have energy or effort invested. So it could be work. I've seen it also come up as school before. So it could be anywhere where you have energy or effort invested. You just want to have your mind kind of open about where that might be if that doesn't sound like your home right now. All right, next thing I'm looking at talks to me about subconscious leanings. There is some kind of situation where you've been trying to achieve some kind of security or stability, whether this is in a relationship or whether this is in your finances or whether it's even in your home. Could very well be in your home with what I just saw before, but things are not happening the way that you would like them to, and there is a certain amount of disappointment here. And it looks like there's, you may have been kind of fighting this and trying to make this work out the way that you wanted to, but what's happening now is you're tired of fighting, and I think you're coming to a point of acceptance that, you know, things are going to play out the way they're going to play out, and the best thing that you can do is sort of just get on board and sort of go with the flow, basically, is where your subconscious is going with this. Feels like you don't have as much control over that situation, whatever situation that is, as you would like. Next thing we're looking at talks to me about learning style and also communication style. You have somebody in your sphere of influence who is not being very direct with you at all. They're basically sending you smoke signals. They're making hints. They're making implications, but they're not coming out and saying anything straight to your face. This is somebody who's not happy with you, but they also won't just come right out and say it. All right? Also, as far as learning style, yeah, you would like them to be direct. You would like to have the truth. They're just not there. They're not in that place where they're doing that. There is something else that you're learning, and I feel like this may be around some kind of class, seminar, mentoring, coaching, something like that. This is a little bit of a more formal type situation where you are learning new things. You're building on a foundation that you've already begun, so you're getting new information that adds to old information. And you also may be, not all of you, but some of you may be receiving some type of certificate of some kind during this time frame with this learning situation that you have going on there. And then last but not least, what do we have going on here? There is some person or some group of people that you're learning more about. I think you're spending more time with a particular person or a particular group of people during this time frame than you're able to normally. And you're learning more about them, and they are actually learning more about you as well. And so those bonds are deepening as you're learning more about each other. Looking at your communication style, what comes up to me here is that your communication style, first of all, is very solid and very grounded. So when I see a solid or a grounded communication style, this tells me that you're not saying things that, you know, one person gets one story, somebody else gets another story. Everybody's pretty much getting the same story, okay? You know, there's no flightiness, there's no flakiness about your communication whatsoever. Even if you're talking about the emotions that you have around a person or around a situation or a thing, that is very grounded and not willy-nilly either. That's very much staying the same. So basically people know what to expect from you. Like, you're not changing your expectations. You're not, you know, everything is staying solid and reasonable and sane. I like this. I don't always see that, by the way, so this is really nice. I do think that you may be doing some type of how do I want to say this? I kind of want to say energy work, but it's communication. So, I mean, this is energy work that involves words, involves affirmations, or involves statements or declarations. You may even be writing out intentions, things like that. But there is something here that there's communication around some type of energetic work as well. Okay? What's energetic work? I hear some of you asking, what's energetic work? So energetic work is doing something where you're basically tapping into the supernatural to accomplish something in the physical. Reiki would be one example. Shamanism would be another example. Affirmations tap into the supernatural to accomplish in the physical. Law of attraction, metaphysics, like that really. All right, so that's learning style and communication style as you go through this particular time frame. Next, let's look at work. And guys, I did stop actually shuffling and putting down the cards on the video. I just thought it's just taking up too much time, and I really want these videos to just get right into the meat of things. All right, so looking at work. Wow, okay. I basically have two cards that say that you're going back to some type of work or some place where you worked before that you've been before. So you're going back to an industry that you've worked in before, to a company that you've worked in before, to a place that you've worked in before. There's this whole sense of going back, that you had a break from work or from this place, and now you're going back to this place. I don't think you're particularly happy about it, to tell you the truth. I think you're glad to be going back to work, but I think that you kind of wish that you knew some other way to bring in a good income other than going back to this thing. All right. As far as inner work has to do with this idea that there are people in our lives that sometimes we put on a pedestal and we expect them to be more than human. We expect them to be people who perform at a higher morality rate than other people, or we expect them to be better at the business than other people, or we expect them to be better as lovers than other people. Somehow we get it in our mind that they're the god of whatever this is, and so we set them up on a pedestal. And I think the inner work has to do with this understanding that, you know what, they're all human. They all have flaws. This really makes me think of, and I think this happens to a lot of us, we get to a certain age where something happens, and all of a sudden we realize that our parents are not, I don't want to say they're not that special, because parents, I mean, you only get one of each, so yeah, they are special, at least in most cases, but we start to realize that they're humans just like everybody else, and that they make mistakes just like everybody else, and that we kind of expect them to be perfect. As little kids, we look up to them. We expect them to know everything. They're the ones that always have our backs. They're the ones that are putting food on the table most of the time. They are basically our source of information and food and shelter and clothing and everything we need to survive. And we kind of see them as way bigger than life and unable to make a mistake because we rely on them so much as little ones. And then we get to a certain age and we realize, whoa, wow, Mom and Dad are not perfect. When did they stop being perfect? And it's such a letdown. I can remember I was 12 when I realized that my parents were not perfect. And it was this incredible letdown to actually realize that they were humans just doing the best they could, just like anybody else, just like me, only older. And this is what this really smacks of to me. It's this whole idea that there's somebody in your life, Pisces, that you had on this pedestal that you just thought they couldn't mess up, at least in some area of their life, if not in every area, but you had them on a pedestal. And your inner work is about realizing that that's not really fair to them. It's not really fair to them. They're human. It's not fair to put them on that type of pedestal and have those types of expectations from them. And they're not going to be able to live up to that. You have set them up for failure when you put them on that pedestal. And so now what are you going to do about it? Okay, so that's inner work. Alrighty. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded as you go through this particular time frame. Isn't this interesting? I think there's somebody that is facilitating as you do this, but you are learning about loving yourself. And I feel like a lot of you Pisces are just at the very beginning about learning about loving yourself. Like seriously, in a heavy duty way, like a really meaty, juicy way, because I think you're taking a good look at yourself. You're taking a good look at your own personal makeup, and you're examining all of it, not just the parts that everybody tells you that they like, but the parts that you don't really let other people see because you know they won't like them too. And as you're taking a look at all of this, you're still in that place of loving yourself in spite of the shadow side. And we all have a shadow side. Okay, I'm not accusing you of anything darker than any other person on the planet. We all have a shadow side. And you are getting to know the good, the bad, and the ugly about yourself, and you're learning how to love it all. It's a very healthy thing, by the way. Very healthy. I think that you have a facilitator that's actually helping you do this, or a mentor, or somebody in your life that is kind of the tour guide as you explore yourself here. This is the person that's the sounding board, that when you find something that you're just like, oh my God, what do I do with that? It's slimy and it's yicky and ugh. Then this is the person that you go to, and this person is the one that says, okay, well, all right. So it is all that. Now what are we going to do? And sort of helps you make a game plan about what you want to do with this, if you want to do anything with this. Okay, so that's where you're being grown or expanded right now. That's pretty cool. Pretty heavy-duty stuff there, actually. It's awesome, empowering. It's like amazingly empowering when you start to discover those things about yourself and realize that you're still a lovable person in spite of those things. Okay, next thing that we're looking at talks to me about those things that you stand up for during this particular time frame. We do have self-care showing up here. Oh, honeys. Honeys, you guys are doing some big work this time around. You have self-care showing up here. You're letting go of some kind of old wound, insult, insecurity, hurt. You're letting that go. So you may be forgiving somebody, or you may just be doing some emotional, spiritual, psychological work to let that go because you don't want to carry that burden around anymore. I'm liking it so much. And you're kind of letting your guard down a little bit. You're letting yourself be more of your true being around other people. You know, you're not wearing as much of a mask as you have been wearing before. Now, a lot of us wear masks. We wear masks as we interact with the world because we have certain ideas about what we think the world can accept and can handle about us. And so as we make our way through the world, we will show the people out there what we think they can handle. And if there's some part of us that we think they can't handle, well, we keep that undercover. We keep it under wraps. I think it's very much a direct result of you working with your shadow self and finding that and accepting that and learning to love yourself, that you're able to let down the guard a little bit and show more of your authentic true self to the world because, yeah, I think you've come to a point where, how do I find the right words to say this? I think that by sharing your true self, you realize that you're empowering other people to look at their true selves too and to accept their true selves. You know, we can't make any improvements on ourselves until we accept who we are. If we can't even acknowledge that we have shadow aspects, guess what? We certainly can't fix them because we don't see them. Okay? And so I think you're doing some self-care. You're letting some old things go. I think there's situations where you weren't able to forgive yourself. And I think you're letting that go. You are forgiving yourself for some of the mistakes that you made in the past. And now you're just letting your true self come out more than what you have before. I don't think it's complete. I'll tell you that. I don't think it's that you're showing everything about yourself. But there are some things that you're showing that you would have never shown before. And I think somebody said something to you about it, and you've kind of had to stand up for yourself on this. Now, how does it view you after you've had this conversation? It's interesting. Excuse me. They see you as somebody who has I think that actually, I'm going to tell you, they think that you're somebody who has some really great ideas and some really great potential, but they feel like you are cutting off, you're cutting yourself off from that. That's how they view you. They feel like you taking down some of the mask is cutting yourself off from some of that potential that you have out in the world. They are really used to operating with that mask full on. Nobody knows what their face looks like because they have the full-on mask. They're not going to show their real selves to anybody out in the world. And for them, the idea of showing more of your true self to people is incomprehensible. They just don't understand how that could work. So heads up, they're coming your way. And they could confuse you. They could confuse you. If that's the mindset that they have, they could confuse you. But I think that if you look, do a study and look at some of the most successful people in the world, you'll find that they have shared some of their true selves and some of the parts of them their true selves that were not always so pretty with the world. And it inspires the world to love them. Inspires the world to try to do better as well. Look at Oprah Winfrey. I mean, she shares a lot of personal stuff. I mean, even if you just look at the battle with her weight. And, you know, she's somebody who a lot of people really have a lot of respect for. And it's not because she kept the mask up full time all the time, kept it to where nobody could see her face. Okay? So, next thing we're going to look at has to do with your flex time, and flex time is where things start to change direction for you a little bit during this particular time frame. There is an end to something that has caused some long-term tension or debate in your life for a while. And whenever this ends, then this opens up an opportunity for communication to start up between you and somebody else. And you and this other person are able then to actually make plans for the future once you can start talking again. Whatever was going on before was keeping you guys from communicating in an open way. Now that you can communicate in an open way, you can make long-term plans, and I think that that's something that is a relief for both of you to be able to do that. My goodness, we have some powerful cards showing up here. All right, so let's see. You are taking some time out to sort of isolate yourself, to spend some time alone, to really set your priorities, to understand a little bit about what it is that you want from life, relationships, work, whatever is the most important thing to you right now, maybe multiples of those. And as you are taking that alone time, you're really doing some manifestation, and you are bringing about some changes in your life by focusing on those priorities and doing the manifestations around those. At the same time, it feels to me like you have been released from something that was holding you back. That may have to do with this ending that we saw earlier, but you've been released from something that was keeping you stagnant and keeping you from moving forward. And it looks to me like you're definitely shifting your focus from one thing to something else, and you're putting a lot of time and energy into this other thing. Whether it's a relationship, a business project, a side job, side business, whatever. I feel like with this release, with this ending, now you're able to really focus on this business project. And this could be this person that you're talking to now that you can really plan for the future. And maybe it's not a business project. Maybe it's strictly romantic. I mean, it's going to be in different areas for different ones of you. You guys will have to figure out where it is for you because this is a general reading. Of course, if you want specific information, you can always get a private reading. You guys know how to do that. Just check out my website, get a hold of me, and we can go from there. Alrighty then, let's look at where we see you guys at the end of this particular time frame, Pisces. La da 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 da, la da da da. Pisces, I think you've got some secrets. So I do see you going away from home, doing some traveling. And I think you're doing some things, yeah, that you just don't feel like sharing or telling with other people right now. I think, I think that whatever this is that you're doing, I think you're not sharing it because you're not sure how well this is going to go. And so you're just kind of waiting to see how things play out before you decide to start sharing this information about what you're doing when you're away from home with anybody. This is definitely on the down low. Okay? So that's what I've got for you for this time frame, Pisces. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, take a little break, and when I come back, we'll look at the next week. See you soon. Welcome back, Pisces. This time we're looking at October the 18th through the 24th. Let's just jump right in. We're going to be starting with your environment first. It looks like you're very happy with what's going on in your environment in general. It looks to me like there is something where you're missing somebody, so there could be somebody that's traveling for business or on vacation or something like that. But it does look like you're missing somebody that's normally would be in your environment. And you're really focused. There's something going on that's making you happy about the environment, and you're really focused on making that even better and on really enjoying the happiness that you're having in your environment. I feel like you're doing some relaxation. I feel like even if you miss that person that's normally in your environment, I think the idea that they're not there is letting you, how do I want to say this? Is giving you more free time than what you would normally have, just because they're not there for you to do whatever you would normally do to help them or be a partner to them or encourage them or lift them up or whatever it is that you normally do for them, Pisces. Okay, the next thing that we have going on talks to me about your subconscious leanings. There is something coming up here that has to do with a pretty major shakeup, actually. And this looks to me like this has to be something where you're collaborating with somebody else on something. And I think that there is a project that you've been working with somebody else on. Sometimes this can come up as a relationship, like a friendship or a romantic partnership or even a family relationship where you work together on something. But this could also be actually work. Maybe there's somebody that you have a contract with or whatever. There's some kind of situation that's going through a major shakeup, but once that major shakeup happens, I see you continuing on. It's like whatever this shakeup is, I see you just making the adjustments and kind of going with the flow and continuing on from there. Just like, okay, so, all right, so let's adapt to this, let's change for this, and let's keep on going, okay? So I think that part of this major shakeup is that the person or persons that you were collaborating with may no longer be able to collaborate with you, and so you're having to carry this forward on your own now, and I don't think that that was something that you planned for. Okay, so it was a surprise. I don't see you having a problem doing it. I just see it being a surprise, and you kind of have to catch your breath and sort of, strategize how you're going to do that because it wasn't planned. Next thing that I'm looking at for you, Pisces, has to do with your learning style and also your communication style. We are going to look at learning style. It does look like there's somebody around you who has lots of information that would be helpful for you, but getting that information is kind of like pulling teeth. I think you are getting it. I think you are getting it. You may have to leave Tooth Fairy money under their pillow at night to get some of this information, but yeah, they have helpful information that is useful to you moving forward, but they definitely have some kind of resistance about sharing this information with you. And so you're really working to get that information out of them. There is a lot that I feel like you're kind of learning by the seat of your pants. What do they say? School of hard knocks. Like you're just things that you need to know, that you need to learn, and you need to learn them right now. I think that you are figuring them out. You know, how do we do that? We Google that stuff. We look at it on YouTube. Yeah, when we're in a fix and we've got to know something now, then we look for videos on it. I see you doing a lot of things like that during this time frame as well. Luckily, I think you've got a lot of the base knowledge that you need too. So it's not like you're totally clueless as you're picking up this responsibility here. I think you've got a lot of the base knowledge because you were carrying part of the responsibility. So that part is okay, but there is a lot that you still have to learn. Communication style during this time frame. I do feel like you're putting on like everything is just fine, no worries, no glitches. You know, this is no big deal. The impression the whole deal there is that you don't want to shake people's confidence in you or in your company or whatever this situation may be here. But I do see some communication going on kind of behind the scenes, really. And this could be with a mentor or a coach or somebody who's some type of advisor to you, or maybe even to the person who can no longer collaborate with you. And this conversation is definitely, it's a little bit panicky. I mean, there's really no other word for it. It's panicky, like, oh, what do I do now? What's next? What do I do now? How do I keep this thing floating? All right. And then the last thing that I have coming up for communication style is whatever it is that you are communicating. Like I said, you're putting on a good show, like everything is fine, everything is running smooth. You're not letting people outside know what's going on inside, that there's actually all this drama happening and that you're having kinds of slack that you weren't planning on. You're not letting that out there. What's interesting to me, though, is even as you're keeping up a good front, you're not only keeping up a good front, I think you may actually be offering new products or new services to the public or to your client or to your employer, whatever the situation might be. And these are really, really solid. These are solid. These may be new for you to be doing, but I feel like whatever this is something that's been around a while. And so it's not like you have to sell anybody on the idea that they might need this service. It's, it's just a matter of convincing them to get it from you. And I don't think you have any trouble with that. So that's what we have for communication style. Pisces, you guys are really interesting because learning and communication style for you guys really centers around like a very particular theme, at least so far these last 2 weeks for this month. Maybe the first one, I don't remember. But normally, that's not normal. That's not normal for these readings, at least. All right, next thing that I'm looking at is work. And we've already got pretty much of a flavor, I think, of work. I mean, it could be some other collaboration like a relationship or something, but it just felt very workish to me. So we're looking technically at work right now, and it looks like there is definitely some changes that are being made with your work and how you do it. And this is, I think that these changes, the way they show up here, they're being made to improve life for you as you are doing this work, but also to add to the longevity, add to the what do you call that? What do you call that? It's not only making conditions better for you, but it's also you're offering things that people are going to need for a long time or a longer time than what you were offering before. So job security, that's what they call that. It's adding to your job security and to it's also improving the way that you're doing your job and how you're getting it done. Okay, so what else do we have? That was just one part of it. It's interesting that you're making this change because the motivations for making this change are adding longevity and also improving how things are done right now. But there's not a lot of communication with anybody about these changes. I don't think you're asking anybody's permission. I think you're just going in and just making these changes. I'm almost hearing like you're fed up with doing things the old way. It's not efficient. You didn't like it, blah, blah. And so I think that these changes are unexpected, and they may be coming up too because you're picking up the slack from somebody else. It may be that, these changes are coming into place because you have to find more efficient ways of doing things if you're carrying the full load. And so this is why it's all just happening snap, snap, and we can talk about it later type of thing. Now, inner work for you, Pisces, as you go through this. Your inner work is very much about being in the moment, especially as you're going away from things that had a negative influence on you in the past, negative thought patterns, psychic vampires of people, anything that would have a negative influence or hold you back. So as you're moving away from those things, the really important thing for you as far as inner work is just staying in the moment, not getting all panicky about what's not around anymore, just letting yourself in the moment and work with what you have at hand. That's your inner work. All right. Next thing that we're looking at has to do with that part of your personality, which is being grown or expanded right now. What do we have? What do we have? You are definitely on the move, and you're doing great things. Whoever that was not able to collaborate with you before, I do think that there is somebody else that is still working on this collaboration. So it may not be completely you carrying this weight here, even though one person has fallen out, so there may be more than one of you. But I think that a lot of what you're doing is really very much behind the scenes, and you're not getting a lot of appreciation for what you're doing. And I think this has to do with the idea of picking up the slack. Like I said, it shows up now that there's more than one person actually picking up the slack. So you may have hired somebody, you may have a new partner. This may have been somebody that was in the picture before that's also been helping you pick up the slack all the way along, and they just didn't show up in the spread before. So you're doing some work behind the scenes. People aren't really expressing their gratitude to you for what you're doing. I don't think that matters so much to you. I don't think that you're needing to have that pat on the back. I think what's important to you is that you're able to keep this thing going at whatever the cost might be. I'm almost getting this sense of energy of back when I was in the Air Force back in the 90s, early to mid 90s. If we had an outage on base, I used to maintain and repair air traffic control radar. And so if we had an outage on the base with the radar, and if we were having a hard time figuring it out, or if one problem was leading to another problem, or for whatever reason a job was just going on and on and on for us to actually fix it, we would stay and work however many hours it took to make progress on that job and to get it towards being fixed. If not, even if we weren't able to completely fix it, we just had to keep making progress. So you didn't go home when you had an outage like that, at least not until the next crew got there. And if it just so happened that you worked the night crew and normally there was no overnights, well, when your shift ended, you didn't go home till day shift came in to take over. This is what this feels like to me. Like whatever this was where somebody had to drop out, those of you who are left working on this project are just doing whatever it takes to make this work. That's the kind of energy I'm getting here. And not only are you making it work, I'm seeing you guys really do well with this. I'm seeing you guys advance this. I'm seeing you move it forward and actually take it into a better place. So you and whoever you're working on this with, even though you're not getting a lot of accolades or a lot of credit for the work that you're doing behind the scenes, you're seeing some very definite progress here, and I think that's enough for you. I don't think you're worried about the accolades. I think you're glad that you're taking this forward. This, whatever this project is, or whatever this is, you're taking it into a better place without that person being involved. A better place than where it was before. Really awesome. So that's where your personality is growing and expanding right now. Let's look next at those things that you stand for. Okay. So when I'm looking at those things that you stand for, there's a person that shows up here that you're standing up for. And this person is somebody who acts quickly. They make decisions well on their feet. They may be a little bit young, and they may not always make the most mature decisions. They may be a little bit naive in their decision making. But they catch on to things super, super quick. And I think this person may be the boss. You may have a young boss. You know, somebody who's younger than you, or somebody who's young for the industry. Or you may have a partner that's younger than you. Anyway, you're standing up for this person that acts really quick on their feet. They're super intelligent. They're always picking up new information, and they understand things at a deep level. And definitely, this is somebody who has authority. This is somebody who's in charge. And so you are standing up for this person. So somebody's saying something negative about this person, and you're standing up for them. You're highlighting all the good points about this person. Now, how does the other person feel about you after they hear you standing up for this person? Looks to me like they feel like you, looks to me like you may be talking about some kind of ex, even. Because they're seeing you as not wanting to put any more energy or effort into anything with that person, and they're seeing you as somebody who has really thought about the extent of how much energy and effort, how much you want to actually let this person into your life. And they're seeing you as somebody who's actually literally healing from a heartache or a heartbreak. Okay, so maybe just the fact that you're standing up for this person is telling them that you're getting over a heartache or a heartbreak, even though you don't really want to put a lot of energy or effort into a relationship with this person anymore. It doesn't look like you're saying anything bad about them. And I think that they're feeling like, this other person is feeling like you're a little bit grumpy about them. You're a little touchy when it comes to talking about this person. So there's maybe feelings there. Even though you realize this person may not be the best one for you, there still may be feelings there from what I'm seeing. But I don't see you as really, I think if you had the chance to move forward with this person in a relationship again, I don't think you would, even though you stand up for them. Okay, next thing that we're looking at is your flex point during this time. And this is when things start to go a little bit of a different direction for you, Pisces. So what do we have? What do we have? What do we have? You're released from something. And this could actually be a thought pattern that was restricting or limiting. And as you're released from this, I see you... Yeah, I see you actually kind of holding back and sort of keeping some of the cards close to your chest. You're not sharing all the information that you have with everybody around you very freely. You're holding back on some of that. And I think that you've got a couple of things going on. You're really juggling. You're juggling situations, or you're juggling people, and I don't think that you're letting everybody know. I think you're kind of holding back on your feelings. You're not allowing those to come out so much during this time frame. And it looks to me like whatever was going on before, you were limiting yourself by your own thinking. And as you took off those self-restrictions or those self-limitations, now you're deciding, you know what, I really don't want to share my feelings with that many people, but I do want to interact with a lot of people. All right. Next thing we're looking at during the same time frame, there is somebody who is coming back from the past that wants to start things up with you again. You're not having it. You're not having it. I think this person may be somebody who cheated on you, if this is a romantic situation. Or if this is a business situation, this may be a person that, you know, they said, oh yeah, I'm going to give you this job and we'll do a contract on it and blah, blah, blah. And then they turned around and gave the job to somebody else. Or, you know, there's this idea that there's scattered energy, like they were trying to do too many different things, trying to focus on too many different things at one time, whether it's romantic or whether it's business or whatever. And so when this person says, hey, you know, I would really like to get things back going with you, you know, whichever case it may be, whether it's personal or whether it's business or whatever, you're saying no. And not no, like this is something that this person is, they don't want to hear no. They're not going to take no for an answer. They don't want to. And so you're going to actually have to like fight with this person about the idea that no, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't want to do that. Okay. At the same time, there is some kind of new beginning that you do have showing up here. And this is a new beginning that is one that is secure, one that leads to happiness. And with this new beginning, this allows you to let go of some old negative energy that you used to be carrying around. Some old hurts, some old insults, some old anger, just some negative energy that you were carrying around. You are letting go of some of that during this time frame once you come into this more secure situation with somebody. Let's look at where we see you at the end of this time frame, Pisces. End of this time frame for Mr. and Ms. Pisces. Not really liking what I'm seeing here, Pisces. I'm just going to tell you right now, you ought to put on your hard hat and your seatbelt. I don't like giving the types of messages that aren't all cotton candy and daisies, but real life is not all cotton candy and daisies. And I wouldn't be helping you if I was not telling you the truth. So, are y'all buckled in? Here we go. So at the end of this time frame, I do see you guys going through a little bit of depression. There's some kind of problem or situation that you're not sure exactly how to handle or follow through with or fix. And it looks like this is something that has a lot of emotion behind it. It's something that where you were feeling like you were satisfied and fulfilled. Now you're not. Now you're feeling frustrated and angry and just unhappy in general. I think frustrated and angry covers it, but I've got basically two cards that are saying really unhappy. And what Spirit is saying to me is aggressively unhappy during this time frame. So yeah, I'm not so thrilled about that. And that's where we see you at the end of this time frame. So I don't like how that kind of just turned around really quick on you. Of course, this is a general reading, so not everything that I see here is going to apply to every single person. Most of it should apply to most of you. If you'd like to have a private reading where we can get some clarity on what's going on in your world, I would love to do a private reading for you. My contact information is at the website on the screen here. Just get a hold of me and we'll get something scheduled so we can take care of you. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this time frame. I'm going to take a little break, clear the energy a little bit, come back, and we'll do the last time for the month of October for you, Pisces. See you in a minute. Thank you for being here. Hello there, Pisces. Welcome back. We're looking at the last time frame for October. So this is going to be October 25th through the 31st. And of course, we're going to start the way we always do with your environment, which remember, environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. Usually home, sometimes work, sometimes school. It does look like you may be sharing your environment during this time frame with somebody else who is very much a natural leader. They like to be in charge, someone who thinks outside the box. They don't let society or culture or other people tell them how things should be done. And Yeah, somebody who is very social and likes to make other people laugh, likes to have a good time. It looks like you and this person are really actually enjoying your environment. You guys may be pampering each other. And it looks like there are some decisions that you're making about the environment to make that is a more enjoyable environment for you or for the both of you. Okay? So that's cool. I like that environment showing up there. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about your subconscious leanings, Pisces. There is definitely something coming up here about strong self-confidence, strong self-esteem. I'm liking that. What else do we have going on, though? It seems like there's something that you were hoping for before, and you're at this point of just really not feeling like putting energy or effort into it anymore. And part of the reason you don't feel like putting effort or energy into it is because your self-confidence and your self-esteem is so strong. So this actually could be a good thing. It might be something that, you know, you were only going to put energy or effort into because you weren't feeling very good about yourself. So now it looks like you're deciding, you know what, I don't really need that. I don't really need to do that. But this is what your subconscious leanings, that's what your subconscious is really focused on as we go through this particular time frame. Next thing that I'm looking at does talk to me about two different things. First of all, your learning style, and secondly, your communication style. So learning style during this time frame does have to do with talking with friends. You're getting a lot of information from your support network, from your friends. And even I think you're picking up information kind of casually, not like let's sit down and can I pick your brains type of thing, but just as you're around your support network or your friends, there's information that is just naturally flowing to you or naturally coming up. I do feel like your curiosity has you learning a lot of things just by asking questions and sort of delving into some of the topics that you're curious about. And I also feel like you are learning some things about metaphysics, manifestation, things like that during this time frame as well. Now, looking at your communication style, I do think that your communication is very solid, very grounded. I feel like your communication is abundant. I think you're giving people encouragement and upliftment as you're communicating during this time frame. And I think that there's a lot that's being talked about as far as dreams, possibly literally dreams that you have at night while you're sleeping, but definitely also those types of dreams like, okay, this is what I want to do in the future. Wouldn't it be great if I could make this happen, or if we could make this happen? So there is some communication, a lot of communication actually, that is about dreams going on, and I feel like that communication is really grounded. I feel like there's a lot of communication about this is what I would like to accomplish, and these are some of the steps I see us being able to take to get there, or some of the steps I see me being able to take to get there. I do have a sense that you're wanting to include other people in this picture, and you may be asking other people if they will join you in helping you to attain this dream. So that's what we have for communication style and learning style. Next thing I'm looking at has to do with work. There are going to be some major changes at work. Things are going to be regrouped, reorganized, reframed. Perspectives are going to be changing at work. Now, I don't see an end coming to work. I don't see like a massive explosion, but I do see some major changes happening here. And I think that the person who is in authority or in charge may be deposed. It may be that somebody comes in and lets him go. And I feel like for a lot of you, this is a him, although it doesn't have to be. It could be a female just as easily, but I feel like that is part of the reworking that's going on. It just feels like somebody is coming in and looking at systems and practices at work, and they're just saying, you know what, this works really well, this doesn't, let's improve this, let's do that. And, you know, if you've got somebody there that these people that are coming in doing these changes feel like is not productive, maybe they're fighting the changes too much, maybe they've been causing hiccups in the system for a while now, they're not going to keep that person around. They're going to go, that person is going to go. And I feel like as the changes are made where you work, I feel like there's a little bit of you that is sort of bored with this. I think you almost have this attitude of, yep, every time they hire in a new manager, they have to show who's boss and they have to get things going their way. And then, in another year and a half, we'll have a new manager and we'll be doing everything a new way again. That type of energy or that type of attitude is what's coming up from you around what's happening at work. Now, inner work. I think that you guys are doing some inner work that has to do with finding out the truth around certain situations, finding out the truth around what you're capable of, about your power. What is your power? What is your position in the universe? What are you good at manifesting? What could you improve at manifesting? So inner work is really about discovering and exploring your sense of power as it relates to the universe in general. Okay, next thing that we're looking at talks about that part of your personality that's being grown or expanded right now, Pisces. It looks like you have some kind of situation, relationship, something that originally you thought was absolutely ideal and totally what you wanted, and you're starting to realize, maybe not. Probably not, after all. Close. I think it's close, but no cigar. And I think what you're doing is you're starting to think about, okay, well, what can I do to upgrade this, or what can I replace this with that's going to be better? And so you're starting to go out and look for what you can do to actually improve this situation, because you just want to make it better. And I think you're starting to make some of those improvements. So the improvements are going to involve just changing the situation up completely, changing the players in the situation. For others of you, this is going to involve just making adjustments in the situation itself to make it better. So this is a general reading, so I'm not going to try to narrow that down, because I feel like there's energy going both ways. So some of you will be doing one thing, some of you will be doing another. If you want more specific information for yourself, then obviously you want to get a private reading for that. Let's look at things that you stand for during this particular time frame. So remember last time frame we had something come up that talked about you being away from home and doing things away from home that you didn't really want to tell other people about yet. I think we're getting to the point now that you're not really liking the idea of having such big secrets about what you're doing whenever you're away from home. You're getting to that point where it's really wearing on you. You just want to be able to just come out with the truth, or stop doing whatever this is that you're not sharing with somebody else. I think the energy that I'm getting from this is that a lot of you would be just as happy with either one. Tell the truth or just stop. Because you're just so frustrated with the idea that there's something going on that you really can't talk about. You don't feel comfortable talking about to other people. I don't think that's your normal, that's not your normal MO. Okay, so kind of confronted you about this whole idea. So somebody's kind of figured out something. I don't know if they figured out the whole thing, but they figured out something. And they've kind of confronted you on, why are you carrying on with this? And why are you still keeping it a secret? And after you have this discussion with them, they're seeing you as somebody who finds out all kinds of information and dirt on other people, but not willing to share information about yourself. And so I don't think you're revealing what the secret is to them, although they can definitely tell something's fishy here. And they're seeing you as somebody who is just continuing on in this pattern of finding out information about other people but not revealing yourself. And they're looking at you now as somebody that is from their past, somebody that they used to know, basically, and they're feeling like, I think they're looking at you as they're not so sure that they want to continue interacting with you at this point because of these secrets, because that you're not being transparent with them. Okay? And I do feel like, this is somebody who's been around a while. You have some type of history with this person, whether it's at a friendship level or whether it's at a lover level or whatever it is. There is some kind of history there. So this person knows you well enough to be able to tell when you're lying, even if they're not able to tell exactly what it is you're not saying. Okay? La da da da. La da 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 da. All right, the next thing that we're going to look at, Pisces, is going to be the flex point during this time frame. So this is where things start to go a little bit of a different direction for you during this time. What's happening here, you are definitely making a decision, and this is a decision about something that you are ready to put energy and effort into. And this could have to do with business. This is something to do with somebody who really is more logical than heart-oriented. So this could very easily have to do with some kind of business enterprise or some type of even communication type project. Could be a communication company, or you could be deciding to take a job with a communication company, or you could be deciding to get involved with somebody who is more logic-based than heart-based whenever they're making their decisions. So this can be anywhere from your personal life to your business life, but you're making a decision here to put some energy and effort into something, whether it's a personal relationship or something else. What's going on at the same time? I think you're taking a break from love here. You're not feeling like you really want to focus on love life at the moment. You want to really focus on work, making the money, bringing in those pentacles. Yeah. So if it looks to me, since it looks to me like you're taking a break from love at the same time that we've got this where you're putting energy and effort into something, this would be some type of business project or business partnership that you're putting energy or effort into, Pisces, and where you're not focusing as much on love. So if you have a partner, it's not that that partner is going away or you're stepping away from them, but you're just not focusing on them as much because you're focusing more on what you want to do business-wise or money-wise. What else is going on at the same time? You're definitely walking away from some kind of situation that made you feel depleted, and that I think you really tried to work with that situation or work with this relationship, whatever it was. This probably isn't still in the professional realm. I think you really tried to make this thing work out as much as you could. You put as much energy and effort into it as you could, and you're walking away from that, going into something that you're expecting to be much more uplifting, much more encouraging, much more where you have much more benefit from the energy and effort that you're putting into it. So I'm sure that this is talking about beginning that new thing, putting in that energy and effort with this other logical person making that decision. So pretty cool where things are starting to change direction for you. I'm liking that. Let's look next at where we find you at the end of this month. Yeah, we see you with your business thinking cap on. You are definitely focused on what it takes to run a business, what it takes to get the communication out there, the promotion out there. You are making sure other people know about what it is that you have to offer. You are spending some time giving advice, giving good advice to people in your sphere of influence. You could be mentoring. You could be teaching your little one how to tie his shoe even. But I feel like this is probably going to be more professional, that maybe you're helping other people orient to a new company or a new way of doing things, but you're passing along some good advice. And I also feel like there is somebody around you who is making some kind of rash decisions. And this is the person I think that you're passing along advice to. Like you see them sort of going in a direction that's not going to benefit them or anybody around them. And so you're passing along advice to them that, you know what, you might want to rethink that. What if you looked at it from this perspective type of situation? Okay? So that's what we've got for your month, Pisces. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I do appreciate it. Thank you. for all the thumbs ups on this video. Thank you as well for sharing this video with other people that it may benefit. And of course, thank you to those of you who are ordering private readings and private Reiki sessions with me. I do appreciate all of you guys' support at every level, because it is because of you guys that I am able to do what I love to do for my living. Everybody, if I don't see you back before the next video for a private, then I'll see you the next time around. Peace out.